Am I the asshole for telling my son the truth about why his uncle sucks? My brother Ian was married to a great woman who had a wealthy ass family. Old money, property, and the privilege that came with it. Ian fucked it up so bad going into addiction, constant partying on his wife's dime. No shocker when they get divorced and Ian is left with shit because of his behavior. It's been over 10 years since that divorce and Ian hasn't remarried, though his ex did and has kids. She seems to be doing great while Ian works at crappy job after crappy job because his attitude sucks. He now lives with my mom and is probably going to drink himself to death and is still blaming his ex-wife for taking everything he had. He went into his rants recently at a family dinner to one of my kids, 7, about how his ex-aunt screwed over our family and how the kid would be set for life. She, the ex, wasn't so selfish, spoiled, entitled and whatever. For my kid's sake, I set Ian straight and told him how he messed up his own marriage, how his poor decision and drug use messed up his life and no one is entitled to anyone else's money ever. Some people are just born into it and that's life. I don't want my kids having the same mindset of whatever is wrong with my brother because I don't even know. I told my son uncle is sick and greed does that to you. My brother is mad at me and my mom asking me, my wife, and kids to leave the dinner since that is now Ian's home and I was being disrespectful. I need to let my children know that Ian's problem are all Ian's fault because I don't want them to think it's okay to be like him. Not the asshole. Your brother sounds like a complete asshole, and it's about time that someone put a stop to his shit talking. What I especially love is that you actually had a good reason to do it, to protect your son from irrational thinking. Good work. Not the asshole. Your brother is basically teaching your son, if your life got ruined, it's not your fault. It's because women, or anyone, didn't let you take advantage of them. Your son is young and most likely will believe anything adults say. Good on you for calling out Ian on his bullshit and protecting your son. When he started his pity parade at dinner with others, he should have realized there was a distinct possibility that someone would rain on it with the necessary truth. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You were simply explaining the facts to your kids. Their uncle's actions had real-life consequences that he shouldn't blame others for. Not the asshole. You are parenting your child. Their uncle's entitlement is a disease that you don't want your children to have. Good work. Not the asshole. Brother needs to take responsibility for his actions. Am I the asshole for buying size XXXL clothes for my size 8 daughter? My 45F daughter, 16F, is quite slim and wears a size 8. However, she is insecure of her weight and thinks she's larger than she actually is. She recently became a huge fan of Japanese fashion styles, but we can never find those types of clothing in Western stores. So I decided to go online and order some clothes from Japanese websites. However, all the websites I went on used a different sizing system, and my daughter's measurements would actually be considered a size XXXL. When she first received them, she said she loved those clothes and was extremely thankful. Unfortunately, found out the clothes were actually a size XXXL. My daughter was furious with me, saying that I was body shaming her even though she was normal weight. She claimed I was triggering her body dysmorphia and said I was trying to call her fat because she's larger than a size 00. I feel bad, but the only clothes I could find in her correct size and her preferred style were labeled as XXXL. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your daughter is being unreasonable. The size is just a number. When I buy pants, I have to try on several different sizes to get a good fit. You bought clothes in a size she usually wears and adjusted for the Japanese sizing system. There was no insult intended. Not the asshole. The kiddo needs to understand that Japanese sizing is very different. Women there are smaller. I wear size 0 for us, depends on the brand, and I don't even try to shop in regular stores in Japan when I travel. Clothes would fit just too tight. I'm limited to t-shirts and those are LL, like double large or something, men's. You absolutely did not body or fat shame her. She needs to chill. I'm gonna say nah. As someone who was a 16-year-old girl with an eating disorder, I understand how triggering the labels must be for her. You are a mom doing her best. It was very sweet of you to go out of your way to find clothes that she'll prefer. I think you should sit down with your daughter and have an honest conversation with her about her feelings concerning her appearance, overall self-esteem. I would even suggest therapy so that she can have tools to support her during her low moments and she can avoid having the baggage of low self-esteem follow her through her young adult life. Years ago I was traveling around Fiji and they have a good-sized population of Indians. I couldn't get any of the shops to sell me a specific top because I was way too big and wouldn't fit the largest size they had. I am 5 feet 6 inches and at the time weighed 120 pounds. In the USA, I was considered an XS. I'm continually amazed about the differences in sizing between companies in the USA in something simple like underwear. Remove the label. Not the asshole. Show her the chart with sizes and inches, numbers. Then hand her the credit card and tell her happy to look online herself and pick things out, up to maximum X budget. Japanese people have slightly different builds than the average American. Lots of Asians do, just the way it is. You may find some things in the style she likes with just European sizing numbers, which are centimeters, from places like Uniqlo by the way. Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law to F off when she showed me proof of my partner's affair? I, 32 female, have been in a relationship with Marcus, 34 male, for 11 years. Marcus has a sister, Maya, 36 female, who recently went through divorce. Maya is a hard person to deal with. She's a contrarian, she's hot-headed, stubborn, and easily offended. Up until now I've managed to be the bigger person, and keep the peace between all of us. Most of his family does the same with her. All that changed when I got a text from her yesterday. The text was kind and supportive it seemed. Hi Op. I'm so sorry to give you this news, but Marcus has been cheating on you, and it's been going on for years. She continued to say that she found proof of his affair. She has the SS and then said that I must leave him immediately, that she is going through divorce too and she's glad to have a friend with the same issues. She's divorcing for very different issues, and she will help me pack my shit and get out tonight. She gave me info for an attorney and a shelter and attached a SS of a Tinder profile belonging to Marcus, years old, but still active. My response, you might ask. Did you speak to Marcus about this? Of course she hadn't. She came only to me, telling me exactly what I needed to do because she's going through the exact same thing. The thing is, Marcus and I have always had a somewhat open relationship. I'm bi, and often invite a third into our sex life. I'm well aware of his Tinder profile and sit next to him giving input while he swipe. I said won't be leaving Marcus and that she should speak to him. She refused, and told me since I don't want to leave him it must mean I'm brainwashed and abused and need help. Edit. After texting Marcus, I explained our arrangement, vaguely. Her response was that she didn't know, and that it's disgusting, and then she accused me of lying, then showed up at my house and brought bags to pack my stuff. I lost it. I told her to stop making assumptions, to stop trying to blow up my life, and stop projecting her issues and beliefs on me. And then I told her to fuck off and get the hell away from me and my property. She went home and told the family about our arrangement and that I was crazy. When Marcus came back home he told me I could have handled the situation better. I didn't need to snap or kick her out, and should have simply explained again, and held my emotions better, because now our whole family knows our private business. If I hadn't pissed Maya off we could have worked it out with less drama. He's not wrong. But I'm not sure I was wrong either. I felt like she was deliberately trying to fuck up my life. Her intentions may have been good, but once I explained and she continued to tell me what I should do, I was pissed off. So, should I have kept the peace? Edit. I did ask Marcus before explaining and when approved I explained by saying, I know about the ACCT, he's not cheating with it and I don't care. Not the asshole for telling her F off. You shouldn't have explained anything without first talking to your husband because maybe he didn't want what you both do within your marriage to be family fodder. It's not anyone else's business. I do think you are the asshole for having continually engaged the sill. It just didn't need to happen. I agree with your husband that this escalated because of how you responded to the sill. He can deal with her crazy ass then. Block her. Not the asshole. Did he not listen to what you told him after that crazy interaction with her? I believe you need to reevaluate this relationship with him about what just happened. Not the asshole, but you shouldn't have told her about you and your partner's business,
That is a whole new can of worms you brought on yourself.
If you knew what she's saying was crazy, you didn't have to explain yourself. Not the asshole. Is Marcus not angry that his sister is trying to paint him as an abuser? Not the asshole. You tried to talk her down without being too rude, but she kept pushing and pushing. Coming to your house with bags to pack your stuff is crossing WAAAAY over the line. Honestly, if I was your husband, I'd be more annoyed that my sister was trying to convince my partner to leave without knowing what was going on, never spoke to me about it, and then starting saying I was abusive and brainwashed my wife. Would I be the asshole if I said no to my parents moving into me and my husband's house? Hi Reddit. This will be a lengthy one, my apologies in advance, but just wanted to give more context. My husband and I recently got married in January 2024 and waiting to move into our own 3-bedroom apartment that is still going through renovations that's taking longer than expected. My husband moved into my dad's 1-bedroom apartment after we got married, as no one else has been living there except for me. I have also been paying rent ever since I started working. For context, my dad has been living in a rented semi-detached house with my stepmom and her mother ever since he remarried 7 years ago. They currently also have a male tenant living with them in the house who is rarely home due to his working hours. Also, Dad's mother-in-law owns a studio apartment that is currently vacant. Few months ago, my dad came to us and told us that the owners of their rental house wants it back to undergo renovations and then renting it at a higher value, which my parents clearly can't afford. While my husband and I were house hunting, we brought it up to my dad and offered to let them stay with us and at no cost. He declined as he said my stepmom would not feel comfortable having to live with another guy at close proximity. My husband, it's too far from her siblings in the city center and she is used to living in landed properties, so an apartment would be too small for her. We also offered to move out of his house so that they can move in, but he declined as there is only 1 bedroom and her mom insists on following my stepmom wherever she goes, even though she has her own home. Yesterday, my dad sat me and my husband down to let us know that he will be moving in with us, to our new home, as time is running out for them and that they'll move out after 4 months once the renovation is done. However, my dad told us that it will be him, my stepmom, her mother and their tenant, and they will be paying us rent. I was confused as it's a 3-bedroom apartment and where would we have space for the tenant? And he continued saying that me and my husband can continue living in his 1-bedroom apartment while they live in our new home for the next 4 months. That got me angry, as all along, they have decided to not live with us but somehow made the decision about where we will be living. I had to maintain my composure as I was with family and didn't want to ruin the day. Once we were home, my husband and I sat down and talked about what we were going to let my dad know if he were to ever bring the conversation up again, and have decided that they can live with us and still not kick us out. Or they can live elsewhere since they actually have choices, instead of choosing the easy way out. Edit. Corrected an error. Dad only owns a 1-bedroom apartment. Not the asshole. That's ridiculous law. Your dad cannot expect to seize your new apartment that you haven't even had the chance to live in while forcing you to live somewhere else. If it was just your dad and stepmom, maybe you should let them. But why would you have to yield your new home to your stepmom who is not your real grandmother, and worst of all, some random stranger tenant of his to move into your new home? I personally would not agree to this arrangement if I was in your position. P.S. You said your stepmom would not feel comfortable having to live with another guy, your husband, at close proximity, but she is okay to have a male tenant living at her current house? Not the asshole. Your dad is overstepping significantly by informing you where you will be living. He's not moving in with you, he's taking your apartment and telling you you cannot move into it. It does seem as if they have other choices, such as him and your stepmom moving into his 1BR after you move out, and the mother-in-law moving into her studio. I actually can see why they felt like this might be a viable solution, because the 3BR is sizable enough for them, but their delivery and assumption that they could take it over is what makes them Oz. Not the asshole. You and your husband should move into your home without anyone else. Your father and his wife have the 1-bedroom apartment you're currently in and a studio apartment. Dad and stepmom can use those spaces, or they can sell those places to buy something else that fits their needs better. Not the asshole. He doesn't get to make executive decisions for your property. That's entirely inappropriate, and he's trying to steamroll you when I guarantee he knows what he's doing isn't acceptable. I honestly think at this point, there would be a lot of tension if you let him move in at all. I think it would be better if you made him find somewhere else to stay.
The mother-in-law has a studio. He has a one-bedroom apartment. Maybe the tenant can rent the studio for a bit, and your dad and stepmom can move into his apartment with mother-in-law set up in the living room until they find better.
Not the asshole, your dad has an apartment and so does his mill.
The tenant can pay to rent his MIL's studio.
Your parents can live in your dad's apartment.
If your stepmother's mom needs to live with them, they dan figure it out and one of them can sleep on the couch. They need to sell both places to buy something larger.
Absolutely do not let them move in with you. Enjoy the honeymoon period of your marriage with privacy.
Not the asshole, don't let anyone make decisions for you, especially when it comes to your living arrangements. You're an adult, do what you want, and if you feel the need to tell your father they can't stay there, it's okay. Wish you luck on your endeavors.